Jane Elliott has used these over the years with dramatic effect.
Oh.
Her mission is to grind down the blue eyes.
You know what a redundancy is? What?
They give you money and you leave your job.
They give you money and you leave the job.
Once they're feeling downtrodden, what they learn from this can be a real revelation.
Who's responsible for you being on the hot seat right now?
I am.
Thank you very much. Now, does that teach you something?
That I have to listen to you.
Is that all?
And I have to conform to the way you want me to be and not how I am.
Yeah. Does that teach you something?
That I'm insignificant.
Yeah. Does that teach you something?
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that teach you?
I'm worthless.
What does that teach you? If I can convince you that you're worthless in 45 minutes, what could I do if I did this with you for 30 years?
You could take away my self-being and who I am.
But in Britain in 2009, the Blues start to fight back.
Getting right along. You do understand, you understand then that you understand that you are being discriminated against. Yes. Do you understand that you're being discriminated against?
Downright rude.
Do you understand that you aren't liking what you're having? Yes. You need to know that that's not important to me. What's important to me is every time you argue, you prove that what I said about you is true. That you're argumentative, that you're belligerent, that you're uncooperative, that you're uncivilized, that you don't follow the rules, that you want to have things your own way, that you are accustomed to using power, and that you don't understand.
You're using your power.
Do you understand what's going on here? Yes. Tell them what's going on here. And the tall white male.
Basically, it's a lot of people are totally unaware that discrimination goes on as much as it does.
Okay, I want to know what happens when it happens. When it happened to you the last time, what happened?
Wait. No, you don't have to answer that question.
Yes, you do. Say what you want to say.
You don't have to answer that question.
Say what you want to say. Don't
when it happens out there in the real world, people make a stand. It's against the law and people make a stand. Now I'm making a stand. Enough.
And guess how much attention I'm going to pay to that.
You have a free choice. You have a free choice.
No.
Who wants to listen to David speak? Don't listen to her. Speak.
She is not running this show. Take her out of here. Take her out of here.
Fine. Don't listen to her.
I understand what you're doing. I'm just saying I don't understand why. I've spent the morning with these people and none of them are racists.
Just because my skin isn't black, I mean, you probably noticed, a little bit tubby. I've been discriminated. Yeah, I am. I've been discriminated with that all my life. I still put up with it. I face it. I go into shops and see a nice shirt. Oh dear, they don't do my size. Oh well, I'll have to put up with it, won't I?
You can lose your tubby.
But you can't
change the colour of your skin.
Unfortunately, there's a small minority that will use the word racism. They bandy it around when it's not. Let's use the word political correctness. You're not allowed to use the word gollywog anymore.
See,
to me, it's not offensive to you. I don't bar black shit. What's that about?
What's strange is that you've got the blue-eyed people actually sort of arguing that racism isn't a problem.
Yeah, the blue-eyed people are defending the system. They're saying, you know, we all have to suffer. It's difficult for all of us. You know, the guy's saying, well, I can't get the right size shirts. You know, this kind of thing. And they're still not recognising the difference in the scale of what's being experienced by minority groups as opposed to what most people in society are putting up with, which are minor inconveniences by comparison.
So I'm sensing, do people really understand what is racism? The group of the blue eyes are white people. They're living in their world. So we're asking them to live in a world of what it's like to be black or Asian, which is quite difficult to do in 2 hours. So in their minds, it's like, well, racism doesn't exist, because it doesn't exist to them.
Jane Elliott has carried out her controversial exercise all over the world. But here in Britain, she's met stubborn resistance.
I'm not going with all this crack you're putting out, I'm sorry.
That's up to you.
When I came here, racism, oppression was wrong. When I leave here, I will still think that.
In the blue-eyed group, the all-white volunteers are refusing to accept the exercise has anything to teach them, while the majority brown-eyed group are watching on reluctant to speak out.
Do you think this is going to plan? Is this how it's supposed to be?
I don't think it's going quite according to plan, in the sense that usually by this point you'd expect the blue eyes to be more crestfallen, and you might expect the brown eyes to be getting more energised about criticising them.
The Browns aren't joining in a lot, though, are they?
No. And I think that probably represents which country you're doing this exercising. Whereas America, there is a strong divide, or Australia or South Africa. And this country is more subtle. So even though they may have an opinion, they're sort of keeping it quiet to themselves.
Do you get angry about racism?
No.
You don't?
No. I was brought up by my mum, who's white, grandma who's white, my auntie who's white, my cousin who's white. I mean, my family is white. So the only thing that isn't white is my appearance, in terms of my mannerisms and everything else. So I play the game, and part of my playing the game is avoiding the situations where somebody could have a negative stereotype of me based on my name, what I look like. And I think that's it, because once somebody sits down and have a conversation with me, they realise I'm not the things that potentially their stereotypes would dictate I should be like.
Jane Elliott now introduces a setup designed to force any reluctant volunteers to finally step into the fray.
You, stand up here beside me. Yeah. You, right here. I wanted you, nice blue-eyed white people, to find out how it feels to be on the receiving end of that which we allow to be handed out to whole groups of people every day. You don't live what she lives with.
And you can't argue with somebody's experience.
No.
If you don't see the other person's reality, then you don't face that reality, you're almost part of the problem, because you don't see any reason for change it. Change what? Change what?
In the UK, the racism, it's very subtle. It's very subtle. It's standing in a queue, waiting to be served, and the lady at the desk or the reception serves the person behind you, or the white family that's just walked in through the door, or my son running for the bus and getting stopped by the police. Why are you running? I'm running for the bus.
Her child learns something like this every time he walks down the goddamn street.
Stop and search.
And in the United States of America,
any kid stop and search because there's a knife problem at the moment.
You're 8 times more likely to be stopped and searched as a black boy.
But you keep saying statistics. I'm sorry, statistics.
That's how it is. It's the way it is.
Everywhere, all teenagers out at night.
It's a statistics show.
The police will stop them and look for knives. It doesn't matter what colour their skin is.
You are 8 times more likely to be stopped and searched.
One of my best friends is the local Bobby on the
You're not hearing me.
Denying the
hearing you,
facts.
but you feel you're
and now
unique.
You're getting defensive.
You are not unique.
You're still not hearing the point. You're not hearing the point.
I'm totally hearing the point. What I'd like to hear more is what you propose to do to actually change all this.
Oh, wait a minute.
Let's get on to that later. How are we going to change it?
Good. I'm so glad you asked that. I'm so glad you asked that.
I'm bored with this bit now. I'm ready for a tea break and I want to move on.
What you're doing is blaming the victim.
What victim?
What you're doing is blaming the victim. You're saying,
where's the victim?
You're saying to her, what are you going to do to change this?
What are you going to do?
She doesn't have the power to change this.
We?
No, you did not.
No,
what did she say?
You weren't listening.
What's actually going on here?
This is a lot what happens in society, where people are just in so much denial that they feel, well, you sort it out, it's your problem, when it's actually all of our problem.
I think the people who are actually learning a lot here is the people in the brown group, because they're learning about how impenetrable this is for white people, for majority people, that they cannot get it. They cannot get this difference of perspective. It's really tough for them. They either don't want to accept there is discrimination, or they don't see the discrimination, or they don't understand what it is when they do see it.
Is to manipulate it.
As the disagreement escalates, one of the more cautious volunteers finally steps forward.
I don't think we are in denial. I think you want us desperately to be in denial, but most
Pearl! Stump. I have a daughter that lives not with me,